My name is Jeff Tyler. We have two sons. Benjamin is 2.5 and William is 5.
My name is Jessica. I am wife to Jeff, mom to Will and Ben. And when Ben was born, he was healthy and he was beautiful and just happy from the very beginning.
It's almost hard for me to remember what it was like before the accident because the accident changed everything.
The morning of the accident was a very normal Saturday morning in our house. Ben was 2 weeks old at that time. He was a newborn. I was in the kitchen making breakfast, and I asked Jeff to go upstairs and get some baby wipes to do a diaper change, as we have lots of those.
So I went upstairs to get the wipes, and on the way down, our golden retriever was on one of the stairs. I tried to step over him, and unfortunately didn't make it.
Jeff tried to stop the fall by grabbing onto the stairwell, and he dislocated his shoulder and dropped Benjamin.
I was maybe on the 4th or 5th step, and I know he ended up somewhere on the bottom of the hardwood floors.
Jeff immediately told me that he had dislocated his shoulder. Benjamin was screaming and crying. I didn't believe at that point that it was anything serious, but as the moments went on, Jeff started getting more and more pale and Ben just kept screaming. And so I knew at that point that we needed to go to the hospital. When we arrived at the hospital, Benjamin would go between periods of just hysterical crying and then almost eerie silence, like just very, very too calm. They finally took Benjamin away to do a scan of his brain, and I don't think I will ever forget the doctor coming back in and telling me that there was a small bleed in Ben's brain. And at that point, everything changed. Benjamin and I were taken via ambulance to Children's Hospital, Colorado. I was holding Benjamin in my arms and chatting with one of the nurses, and I noticed that one of his eyes started to blink and one of his feet started to move. And I looked at the nurse and I said, that's not right. And she just looked at me and she said, "I'm sorry, Mom, he's seizing." And at that point started just a series of seizures that kept getting progressively worse to the point that they placed Benjamin into a medically induced coma to give his brain some time to just heal and calm down. There was a lot of fear, and we were really uncertain about what his future might look like.
The time in the hospital was the worst time of my life, of course, as any parent could imagine. We met with the neurologist, and he said to us, "I can't tell you if he'll ever walk or talk or go to school or ride a bike."
We talked about if Benjamin came out of his coma and he was brain dead, what we might be forced to think about at that point. But we also felt from the get-go that regardless of how everything played out, that he was our son and we were going to do whatever he needed. And I remember when they did start weaning him off of his sedating meds, and the first time that we saw his little blue eyes just looking at us and focusing on us, we really felt like we had hope.
You could see his eyes moving, so I knew in his brain that he knew at least we were there. And I did talk to him and explain to him that I never meant for this to happen to him. I would change it if I could. We're going to be there for him no matter what he needs. We had no idea what the future looked like, but he was able to get out of the coma. He started breathing on his own. He started eating from a bottle.
Benjamin was in the NICU for 16 days. When I brought Benjamin home from the hospital for the second time, it was really scary. I was scared because I didn't know what would come next. One of the things that they told us that they were going to do was to provide our information to Imagine to start the discussion about early intervention services for Benjamin. It's an amazing program. It's really designed to work with children the first 3 years of their life to really build a foundation to help them be successful in the future. And so for Benjamin, we started off with physical therapy, occupational therapy, and vision therapy. From that first meeting, we felt like Benjamin's future was something that we could dare to hope about.
So when the Tyler family first came to Imagine for early intervention services, they were very unsure of how Ben would develop and how he would progress and grow. And he's really outdone what we could have hoped for.
Everybody comes to your home. They work with you, they work with Benjamin, and it's really a family-directed program so that we are able to advocate for our son and make sure that we feel comfortable and that his needs are being met.
Before we had Benjamin, we were wondering, would those milestones be the same as your first child, walking, crawling, rolling over? And of course, after the accident, they were even more meaningful to us.
The day that he took his first steps in this kitchen was probably one of the happiest days of Jeff and my life.
We had no idea if he would ever walk. To see him actually take steps when he was a year old was the best milestone any parent could ever ask for.
And it was really appropriate that I was capturing it on film and Jeff was standing there with his arms open and Ben just went right to him. And it was just very symbolic for kind of the journey that the two of them had taken together. The two of them have a really special relationship. Every time Ben does something, I send it to our whole Imagine team because everybody in Imagine has kind of become a part of our extended family. And I feel like Ben's successes and victories are shared by all of us.
Team Ben is Ben's group of early intervention service providers, his family, me as his service coordinator, and any entities that we connect with as a community to help support his development.
We are one lucky family. Without Imagine Services, that progress would not have happened. There's no question in my mind.
Boo! Oh my gosh, that was scary. Hi, Ben.
Let's play train.
Let's play train. That sounds great. He's ready. He is ready.
The road for Ben is still a bit uncertain. Right now, he does continue to track about 20 to 25% behind in almost across the board, but he walks. He doesn't walk, he runs. He talks. So he's making great strides, and his development and just who he is beyond anything we could have hoped for. We were in our room meeting with the doctors one day, and it was at that point that the doctor said he may never walk, talk, or go to school. I told that doctor that when Benjamin starts school, he will get a note from me with a picture on his first day. And Ben is most likely going to start preschool in January. So I'm going to send him a note, just letting him know that we did it.